I hope everything is okay. Today, for the class, we are going to see circulatory system types. So first of all, you need to recognize that this is the first difference. Some of them are called as the open circulatory system, and the other one will be called as the closed circulatory system. Probably, as you may notice, the open circulatory system has a section where it's open. It means there's one point where the blood gets in contact with the interstitial fluid. It means the fluid, external fluid from the cells, and basically has like one direction. Then the closed circulatory system means that it is connected through all the blood vessels and also related to the movement of the blood in one cycle. Then let's recognize the circulatory systems could be divided into open or closed, but some people consider one more type of circulation. It is related to the peripherans or sponges, and we will see what happens. So in the case of the sponge or porifera, if you can see it here, they have a type of circulation called diffusion. As you remember, these organisms are the one of the first organisms that appeared after the protozoans. In the first moment, a protozoan was a single cell, and then we understand that during the line of evolution, then these organisms appear. Then the sponges are basically old organisms that have cells together, but they just start to make tissues. So the tissues are not like real, like proper tissues as the other organisms. So they will be doing everything as diffusion. It means they just interchange the fluids in the inside to the outside or the outside to the inside, depending on the things they need, and just that. Then something similar happens with cnidarians. Cnidarians, remember, where we have jellyfish, hydra, anemones, or corals, they do something similar. They do diffusion through their epidermis. As you can see, epidermis right here. It is one of the layers. Basically, is the first layer of the skin. So they do diffusion through this type of tissue. They don't have circulatory system yet, but that's how they do it. Then, when we get to this this part, we need to recognize what means when you talk about open circulatory systems. So they are systems where the blood just go in one direction. I explained to you basically. It goes in one direction and it is not connected. It is just like the blood just mixed with the interstitial fluid. As you can see, the water is I mean the blood is pumped, then gets into these kind of cavities, tissues, these places, and then just disappear or just gets digested by some uh, some cells. In an open circulatory system, the blood just basically goes to this to all the sections, and then as the regular blood delivers nutrients and oxygen to the, the the sections of the body that need this type of substances. Then, when you get to closed circulatory system, then we got two main molecules. We got oxygen and carbon dioxide. Basically, it is just something that is connected. It is not open. So blood always get to through arteries, veins, and blood vessels. Everything goes through all these type of tissues. There's no other way to move inside the circulatory system. Then it is unidirectional because it moves from the heart to the tissues, then from the tissues to the heart. Normally, depending on the organism, the blood will be oxygenated and then it is going to be delivered into the organs where the oxygen is needed. Then the idea is to recognize that open circulatory system always get to something called hemocoel, and it mixes with the interstitial fluid. So the blood has an open where it mixes with the interstitial fluid. Then the closed circulatory system basically is just a closed system. It is a cycle, so it will always move from the heart to the blood veins, uh, blood vessels, veins, arteries, or from these vessels to the heart. Then in the section 2, today we need to understand how is the circulatory system in fishes, amphibians, and birds and mammals. Remember guys that this is like a line of evolution. So as soon as we got in this point, it means it's one of the most evolved systems in all the nature. Then let's recognize what is the first thing. They say that the fishes has a single circuit of circulation. The amphibians have two partially separated circuits, and then the birds and mammals have two fully separated circuits. As you can see, it is related to these words. The fishes has the heart with two chambers. The amphibians has three chambers, and the birds and mammals have four chambers. Let's recognize what is that. So the single circuit of circulation, basically, it is just a system where we see the heart, and the heart has two chambers. The first part will be the atrium, right here, the atrium, and then we have the ventriculum. Then these two guys has the function of pumping all the blood to all the body where it's needed. So normally through the capillary of beds of the gills, remember gills, agallas or branchias, these gills get the oxygen necessary for the blood. So the blood travels through these capillary sections and then it is delivered in the rest of the body. After that, as you can see, the rest of the body, when you use the blood, the deoxygenated blood travels around the or inside the veins. Then it is oxygenated in the gills once again, then through the arteries, then it is delivered where it is needed, and then goes back to the heart. The heart, basically, as the other organisms, is just pumping the blood as much as it can. Then we have the two partially separate circuits of circulation. It is present in amphibians. It is called partially because it's not totally separated into like a double system. So in this case, we got three parts, one ventricle, and we got two atriums. The atriums basically are the ones that pumps the blood inside the ventricle, and then the ventricle move it and then put it again back to where it's needed. But in this case, it's really important to recognize that the blood travels through this vein into the lungs. Then the lungs send all the oxygenated blood into the heart once again, and the heart once again here delivers the blood to the rest of the body. Then when it's delivered, gets into the veins, then the veins transport the blood into the right atrium. Then in this right atrium, the blood moves into the ventricle. In the ventricle, the blood needs to move here into the lungs and then goes back again in the cycle. Remember, it is called partially separated because it's not totally separated right in the middle. So the blood still mixes. The blood has no like a section where it goes deoxygenated or oxygenated. It just moves around the heart, and then some of this blood travels to the body, the other travel to the lungs to be oxygenated. I hope you are understanding. If you don't, just take a look once again in the picture, in the description, or if it's necessary, you can ask me. Then the next group, it is called the circulation in birds and mammals. It is called the two fully separate circuits. Then in this case, the chambers are not three. We got four chambers. We got the left and the right atrium, and then the left and the right ventricle. As you may notice, everything is separated in this time, totally separated. So the blood never mixes. The blood always travels where it belongs to. Then imagine this: oxygenated blood travels to the rest of the body. Then the rest, after it goes to the rest of the body, goes in the veins. It is collected. It is deoxygenated. Then when it gets here in the right atrium, the blood goes to the right ventricle, and the ventricle pumps the blood into the veins that goes into the lungs. Then the lungs deliver blood into the left atrium, and the left ventricle pumps once again the blood oxygenated through the rest of the body where it is needed. As you can see, the blood never leaves the system. It is just carrying oxygen and then carbon dioxide depending on the case. Okay, now this is the opportunity to fill in the blank. You can do it. Then let's do it together. Many animals have either an open or a closed circulatory system that transports substances to and from all body tissues. Then some organisms have neither, achieving basic circulation by which is the direct exchange of important biomolecules with the environment. Then all vertebrates have a circulatory system in which blood is have a closed circulatory system. Let's recognize the answers. So have neither, achieving basic circulation by diffusion. So remember, in the second sentences, some organisms have neither. They don't have circulatory system. They use diffusion. They are still doing transport of substances. So it is called also as a circulation. Then remember, the vertebrates have closed circulatory system. The blood is always contained within the heart or blood vessels. That is why we call it as closed. It never leaves the system. Let's recognize once again two fully separated circuits, birds and mammals. Then we got two partially separated as amphibians. We see just three chambers, left, right atrium and one ventricle. Then single circulation or single circuit of circulation, it means it has just one atrium and one ventricle, and then it is just one simple circuit that delivers the oxygenated blood into the gills. Then the gills oxygenate the blood travels to the systems, then it is collected again in the veins. And basically, when we got the circulation in birds and mammals, there is basically two types of circuits, the pulmonary and the systemic. The pulmonary is the ones that oxygenate the blood, and the systemic is the one that moves everything without oxygen inside the heart to be oxygenated in the lungs. Okay, guys. Then this is all for today. For any questions, I will be waiting for you in any moment. You can ask me. Thank you very much, and please finish all the activities you have to do according to the study plan in your email. Thank you very much.